Old Halloween ads can be charming and kind of terrifying. Tonight, we're watching vintage commercials that would never air now, and the reasons may surprise you. We'll walk through the creepiest spots, explain how advertisers targeted kids, and show the unsafe, insensitive, and sometimes downright reckless tactics that made communities uncomfortable, even back then. Stick around. The final clip led to local calls for bans. By the mid-20th century, Halloween stopped being just a rural harvest ritual and became a full-blown consumer season. Candy makers, costume companies, and department stores smelled opportunity, and the arrival of television put those ads right in front of children, often during the very shows kids were glued to. Sponsors paid for blocks of programming, which gave advertisers repeated, direct access to young viewers, a powerful channel with very few of the safety safeguards we expect today. That sponsorship model changed the game. Marketing shifted from local flyers and shop windows to jingles, mascots, and colorful TV spots designed to stick in a child's head. One tactic advertisers loved was simple: scare the audience just enough to get attention. Some spots used eerie music, shadowy figures, and copy that hinted something bad would happen unless you bought the product. It was emotional manipulation dressed as Halloween fun. Kids ate it up. Parents did too, at least at first, because a real scare made the holiday feel authentic. You'd see jingles that ended with a warning, like "without X candy, the night won't be right," or taglines that effectively pressured children. "No treats? No friends." That line wasn't hyperbole. Social pressure and fear of being left out were used as persuasive tools aimed at children's insecurities. The thrill factor worked. Children love the just scary enough moments, and marketers used that appetite to sell more. Safety was another major blind spot. Today, we have flame retardant standards, choking warnings, and strict toy regulations. Back then, costume materials were often shiny plastics that could ignite easily, and novelty toys sometimes had small parts that posed choking hazards. Advertisers pushed wow features, glow-in-the-dark paints, chemical colorants, inflatable outfits, without communicating any of the risks. Novelty sold, even when it was dangerous. History shows items that appeared in ads were sometimes recalled days or weeks after release, only after parents filed complaints or local papers raised alarms. The contrast is stark. What looked like fun in an ad could turn into a real hazard in a home with candles or an unlit porch. We also have to face a difficult truth about the imagery used in many of these old ads. What was billed as comic or spooky often leaned heavily on cultural stereotypes and caricatures that are unacceptable today. Cartoons and print ads tied to Halloween, sometimes borrowed from minstrel shows, colonial caricatures, or exaggerated ethnic tropes, and these depictions were normalized in advertising art. It's important to show these clips with clear context and critique, because erasing them would erase part of history. At the same time, we must be direct about why that content is harmful. These portrayals reinforced prejudice and made discrimination seem like entertainment. Whenever these images appear, we should treat them as historical evidence to be examined and condemned, not celebrated. Another eyebrow raiser from the era. Adult-targeted messaging appeared uncomfortably close to children's programming. Tobacco brands, for example, sponsored entire blocks of shows in the early days of TV and radio, sometimes including seasonal tie-ins, which meant cigarette logos and ads ran in family time slots. Similarly, promotions for venues serving alcohol or even gambling-like gimmicks could be found adjacent to Halloween specials. Boundaries were looser, and regulations were still catching up. From today's perspective, allowing adult products to piggyback on kids' viewing time seemed shocking, but it was a reality of mid-century broadcasting practices. Still, it's not all cringe or cautionary tales. There are reasons these ads hold a place in people's memories. Families gathered around the television. Catchy jingles and mascots became part of the ritual. Regions proudly displayed themed window setups, and kids loved the practical costume tips and the delight of novelty candies and toys. The shared joy, the communal thrill of trick-or-treating, issuing and receiving candy, and dressing up was reinforced by these commercials. For many viewers, those jingles and mascots are nostalgia triggers, bringing back warm memories even when some details of the era make us wince today. As we revisit these clips, it's worth remembering what changed. Consumer safety standards tightened. Broadcasting rules evolved. Advertisers became more accountable. That shift matters because it shows how society learned from mistakes. But the old ads also teach us something else: the raw power of marketing and how quickly cultural norms can shape what is acceptable. When we watch, we should do so with a critical eye to appreciate the craft, understand the context, and call out the moments that are harmful or dangerous. If you're digging vintage ads, look for the details, the sponsor slates, the overt product pushes, the ways fear was used as a sales tool, and the little production clues that reveal a different time in advertising. And if you have family tapes or local clips collecting dust, consider digitizing them. These personal pieces are often the best window into local history and how communities experienced Halloween decades ago. Vintage. Halloween ads are a complicated archive. They entertain, instruct, and remind us how much media standards have evolved. They're a snapshot of a moment when novelty and risk often went hand in hand. If you liked this look back, subscribe. Next episode will count down the top 10 weirdest Halloween commercials and restore a lost kid spot from the 1950s. Drop your favorite vintage ad in the comments. And if you've got a VHS or a family clip you think deserves a resurrection, send it our way.